Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the CCFS book reactions series here that I'm doing on God's Grace in Your Suffering by David Powlison. If you haven't picked up a copy of the book, then you're definitely missing out. There's a link if you'd like to try to get a copy on your own. But this is the second reaction out of this third chapter that I'm doing, the chapter being Listen Well. I mentioned that I was going to do two reactions out of this chapter because this is such a good chapter. And so here's my second reaction. I'm on page 35, and in this section he is making a comment out of that hymn, How Firm a Foundation, where it's the first line, really. He's commenting on that first line, how firm a foundation, you saints in the Lord. And so in this section that I want to respond to real quickly, his comment, and this part of the paragraph here is about that idea of being saints in the Lord. You are a saint in the Lord. I'm a saint in the Lord. If you are in Christ Jesus, you are a saint in the Lord. And that the whole point that he's making here is that by being in Christ, having your identification with Christ as being in Christ, then your ability, your walking through difficulty and hardship fundamentally shifts. In fact, let me just read what he actually says here. He says, when God has written his name on you, suffering qualitatively changes. Pain, loss, and weakness are no longer the end of the world and the death of our hopes, of your hopes. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. And that makes me think of a refrain that I say whenever I counsel individuals going through difficulty, and at least a refrain that I get to at some point with my clients. And that is this: death is not the worst thing that can happen to us. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to us. And if that's true, then certainly so goes our pain and our hardship and our difficulty that we experience on this side of heaven. And the reason why even death isn't the worst thing that can happen to us is because we're going to be with the Lord. Once we're done with this life in the flesh, this life on earth, this life on this side of heaven, we're going to be with the Lord, and we're going to be with him forever. And if you're dealing with a sickness and a disease, that sickness and disease will be gone. If you have some sort of physical ailment in some way, that ailment will be gone. If you're a person who struggles with chronic depression and anxiety or chronic fear in some way, gone. Those things aren't the worst things that can happen on this, that can happen. And so certainly neither is death. And what makes the capacity to go through all those difficulties, again, what shifts, what's the game changer in all that, what qualitatively changes in all of that, is the fact that you are in Christ. And I pray that if this resonates with you, and that you are in Christ. And if you're not in Christ, if you want to be a Christian, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below on what is the gospel and how to become a Christian. Because being a Christian, being in Christ, having his name written on us, it qualitatively changes how you deal with difficulty, how you deal with hardship. By being in Christ, having that kind of identification with him, we see that pain, loss, weakness, it's no longer the end of the world. And the reason why it's no longer the end of the world is because we have a higher hope, we have a higher vision, we have a higher source of consolation and meaning and purpose in our life than the relief from suffering, or than the lifting of the pain in the moment. It's a hard thing to believe. It really is not an easy thing. I'm not saying it's easy breezy, but it's true. And I hope that it's true for you. I pray that it's true for you. So thanks for listening to today's book reaction. Stay tuned for chapter 4, which is going to be titled, I Am With You. So I look forward to reading that chapter and giving my book reaction to that. Thank you for tuning in today. Talk to you soon. Bye.